Hello, friends. Welcome to my show, which I don't even know my own cues. Hello, friends. Did I say that yet? Hello, friends. What you are about to hear is a joke. No, it's a recreation of the Sherlock Holmes Old-Time Radio show from the 1940s, but with a small twist. The professional voice actors will be performing the play, have not seen the script beforehand, so they'll be performing the show cold. So no rehearsals. Most of them have no idea what's coming. They're going in blind, except for the fact that the main characters are cultural icons, beloved by millions, and this is a well-known story, which has been done thousands of times over the years, but not by us. And we have a genuine British person playing Sherlock Holmes, but nobody else is British. Just make sure, in case their accents are so convincing. I want you to know that up front. Anyway, before we begin, I've got to do the obligatory YouTube thing, which is to ask you to please hit the like button if you like this, whenever you see it, and maybe even the subscribe button, because Theremin Theater, we have big plans. Big plans.
Ting that bell.
Yeah, ting it and the bell, that in case you want to be notified. But I personally never do the bell. I don't do the bell because I hate all those emails. Anyway,
get a Google reminder.
Our small cast tonight consists of other people as the announcer. Probably going to be Matt Curtis because he's so versatile, and that's why we're giving him the announcer role. But also Chris Sharps, the genuine British person, is Sherlock Holmes. Trendane Sparks, with the amazing beard currently, will be our Dr. Watson. Melissa Medina will be playing Helen Stoner. And her sister in crime, or not in crime because they're not the criminals, is Liisa Lee, and she is Julia Stoner. And again, Matt Curtis, because he came in late, he has to do two roles, and his second role is Dr. Grimesby Roylott, who is just a swell guy. You'll all get to meet him soon. Okay, so if
and
you're
then
ready,
there's you.
There's me.
There's you.
But I'm not playing a role.
Don't care.
Oh, okay, there's me, George Ledoux.
George Ledoux.
Your host and instigator. So grab a snack and a favorite beverage and sit back and relax as Theremin Theater presents Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure of the Speckled Band. Here we go.
Petri Wine brings you Basil Bone Broth and Nigel Goodday Bruce in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The Petri family, the family that took the time to bring you good wine, invites you to listen to Dr. Watson tell us another exciting adventure as he shared with his old friend, that master detective, Sherlock Holmes. As for me, I'd like to tell you the easiest way I know to get the reputation of being a perfect host. Next time friends come over for dinner or you sit down at the table, serve glasses of Petri California Sherry. The Petri Sherry is the best beginning of a good meal ever had. I say Petri Sherry because Petri Sherry is extraordinary sherry. You can tell by looking at it. Hold it to the light. Notice how clear it is. Notice its beautiful deep amber color. And you can tell Petri Sherry is unusual from just a whiff of its fragrance. And of course, in the last analysis, you can tell just how fine a wine Petri Sherry is by tasting it. That's the best taste of all. And that's where you'll get the most pleasant surprise because Petri Sherry really tastes wonderful. A flavor right from the heart of the grape. So serve Petri Sherry to your family and your friends, and serve it proudly, because the name Petri is the proudest name in the history of American wines. And now I'm sure our good friend Dr. Watson's expecting us, so let's not keep him waiting.
Come in.
Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, Mr. Barfly. I trust you're ready for tonight's story.
Oh, you bet I am, Doctor.
That's wonderful. So, draw up a chair, young fellow my lad, and make yourself comfortable, and I'll get on with tonight's Sherlock Holmes adventure, the adventure of the Speckled Band. My friend Sherlock Holmes worked for the love of his art rather than a requirement of wealth. He refused. Stop moving the script while I'm trying to read. He refused to associate himself with. Beg pardon. I should get some of that Petri sherry. Mrs. Watson, not Watson, but
Hudson.
I know her name. God, thank you. Where was I? Right. Anyway.
Associate himself with any investigation.
I said I know God, thank you.
Sorry.
He refused to associate himself with any investigation which did not tend toward the unusual, even the fantastic. Glancing over my notes, 70-odd cases, I cannot recall any with more singular features than the case of the Speckled Band. I might have placed them on record before, but for a promise of secrecy, from which I've only been widespread rumors as to what really did happen. So, it is perhaps as well to bring the facts to light at once.
Good plan.
Yes, I thought so too. It began early one morning, if you will recall, God, in April of 1883.
Watson! Wake up, Watson!
What on earth?
Come along, Watson. It's 7:15.
15:15? Oh, Holmes.
Yes, I know. It's a little before my usual time.
What is it? A fire?
No, a client. It seems that the young lady has arrived in considerable state of excitement.
Aha!
Now, when young ladies wander about the metropolis at this hour of the morning and wake sleepy people out of their beds, I presume that's something very pressing which they have to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Should it prove to be an interesting case, I'm sure you'd wish to follow it from the outset.
My dear fellow, I wouldn't miss it for anything, except perhaps more sleep. Young woman, eh? Well, just give me a few minutes to dress and I'm ready.
Good morning, madam. My name is Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Holmes.
This is my intimate friend and associate, Dr. Watson.
Morning, madam.
Good morning, Doctor.
You may speak as freely before Dr. Watson as before myself. I'm glad to see Mrs. Hudson has the good sense to light the fire. Pray draw up to it, madam, and I shall order you a cup of hot coffee. You are shivering.
No coffee, thank you, Mr. Holmes. It's not the cold which is making me shiver.
What then?
It is fear, Mr. Holmes. It is terror.
Heavens!
You must not fear. It's only a cup of tea. We shall soon set matters right.
Yes, certainly.
You have come in by train this morning, I see.
You know me, then?
No, but I observed the second half of a return ticket in the palm of your left glove. You must have started early. Arid, yet you had a good ride in a dog cart along heavy roads before you reached the station.
Mr. Holmes, I don't...
There is no mystery, my dear madam. The left arm of your jacket is spattered with mud in no less than 7 places. The marks are perfectly fresh. There is no vehicle save a dog car which throws up mud in that way, and then it's only when you sit on the left-hand side of the driver.
Well, you're perfectly right. I started from home before 6. I reached Leatherhead at 20 past, and I came in the first train to Waterloo. Sir, I can stand this strain no longer. I shall go mad if it continues.
Calm yourself, dear lady.
I have no one to turn to. No one. Save the one who cares for me, and he can be of little aid. I've heard of you, Mr. Holmes, from Mr. Farintosh.
Farintosh? Ah, yes. The case was before your time, I think. Watson concerned with an opal tiara?
Certainly. I don't remember it.
Mr. Holmes, do you think you could help me too? At least by throwing a little light through the darkness which surrounds me. At present, it's out of my power to reward you for your services, but in a month or two, I shall be married and have control of my own income. And then
Madam, I shall be happy to devote the same care to your case as I did to that of your friend. My profession is its own reward, but you are at liberty to defray what expenses I may be put to whenever it suits you to do so.
You are very, very kind, Mr. Holmes.
Now I beg you to lay us before I'll say that again. Now I beg you to lay us before us everything that may help in forming an opinion about this matter, maybe.
The real horror of my situation seems to be that my fears are so vague, and my suspicions depend so entirely on small points which might seem trivial. You'll probably tell me they're nothing, but the fancies of a nervous woman. But I've heard, Mr. Holmes, that you can see deeply into the wickedness of the human heart.
Oh, I am all attention, madam.
My name is Helen Stoner, I think, and I'm living with my stepfather, Mr. Grimesby Roylott, of Stoke Moran on the western border of Surrey.
It's one of the oldest Saxon families in England, I believe.
And at one time amongst the richest, too. But in the last century, 4 successive heirs wasted the fortune. All that was left was a few acres of ground and the 200-year-old house. The last squire dragged out his existence there in the horrible life of an aristocratic pauper. But his only son, my stepfather, saw that he must adapt himself to the new condition and take a medical degree. Then he went out to Calcutta and established a large practice. However,
Very good.
I'm still going. However, in a fit of anger after his house had been robbed, he beat his native butler to death. I'm sorry, it's not funny.
That's a lot of exposition.
Right.
Oh, my.
It's all right, I've got it all down here.
Back to the script, Watson, for God's sake.
I'm doing the script, it's right here. Madam, pray continue.
Yes. So he narrowly escaped, I heard.
He narrowly escaped a capital sentence. As it was, he suffered a long-term imprisonment and then returned to England a morose and disappointed man.
When did Dr. Roylott marry your mother, Miss Stoner?
While he was in India. My mother was the young widow of Major General Stoner of the Bengal Artillery. My sister Julie and I were twins, and we were only 2 years old at the time of my mother's remarriage.
I
The whole thing.
see.
My mother...
Keep going.
Let me tell you all about my mother. My mother had a considerable sum of money, not less than 1,000 a year. Her personal finances are very important. She bequeathed it to Dr. Roylott entirely while we resided with him, with the provision that a certain annual sum should be allowed to each of us in the event of our marriage. Shortly after our return to England, that was about 8 years ago, my mother was killed in a railway accident near Crewe.
Oh,
You poor girl.
Thank you. Then Roylott abandoned his attempts to establish himself in practice in London, and he took us to live with him in the ancestral house at Stoke Moran. About this time, a terrible change came over our stepfather.
A change?
Instead of making friends and exchanging visits with our neighbors, he indulged in ferocious quarrels with anyone crossing his path. There was a series of disgraceful brawls, and 2 of them ended in the police court. My stepfather became the terror of the village, drunken lout. He's a man of immense strength and absolutely uncontrollable anger.
Is there any history of violence or violence of temper in his family, to your knowledge, and does he turn green?
I believe I mentioned that, didn't I? I did. There is indeed. I think in my stepfather's case, it's even worse, as he lived so long in the tropics.
That'll do it.
Only last week he threw the local blacksmith over a parapet and into a stream. It was only by paying over all the money I could get together that I was able to avert another public exposure.
it's terrible, terrible.
Steady on, Watson.
All right. Please.
His only friends now are the wandering gypsies.
Oh, gypsies.
He gives them leave to camp on what's left of the family estate, and sometimes wanders away with them for weeks on end, partying and, he and his animals.
Well, he's a bit of a farmer then, huh?
Nothing like that, I'm afraid.
Oh.
He has a passion for Indian animals.
Furries.
Thank you. Yes.
At this moment, he has a cheetah and a baboon wandering quite freely over the grounds.
I know them.
They are feared by the villagers almost as much as their master. But to continue, anyway, you can imagine that I and my poor sister Julia had no great pleasure in our lives, of course. No servant would stay with us, and for a long time we did all the housework, us. She was only 30 at the time of her death, but her hair had already begun to whiten, even as mine has.
Your sister is dead, then?
You're like Sherlock.
I am
She
Sherlock.
died just 2 years ago. We had an aunt living near Harrow, whom we were occasionally allowed to visit. When Julia went there at Christmas 2 years ago, she met a Marine major and got engaged to him. My stepfather learned of the engagement when my sister returned and offered no objection to the marriage. But within a fortnight of the day, which had been fixed for the wedding, this terrible, terrible event occurred.
Miss Stoner, pray, be precise as the details at this point with more exposition.
I feel like I have been, but I'll do better.
Please do more.
More precise.
It is easy for me to be so, for every event of that dreadful time is seared into my memory. The manor house, as I have already said, is very old. Only one wing is now inhabited. The bedrooms are on the ground floor. The first is Dr. Roylott's, the second was my sister's, and the third, my own. There's no communication between them, but they all open out into the corridor. Do I make myself plain?
Perfectly so.
Yes, yes.
The windows of all three rooms open out on the lawn. That fatal night, Dr. Roylott had gone to his room early, but we could smell his strong Indian cigars. Julia was in my room, chatting about her approaching wedding, and at 11 o'clock, she rose to leave me.
Lively transition.
Can't hear.
Oh, Julia? Julia?
Dad, give her a
Julia
minute.
has gone.
Helen,
Julia's
Helen,
dead.
darling,
Yes, dear.
tell me, have you ever heard anyone whistle in the dead of night?
Creepy. Whistle? No, never.
I don't suppose you don't whistle in your sleep?
Certainly not. But why are you asking?
Because during the last 2 nights, at about 3 in the morning, I kept hearing a low, clear whistle. It wakes me up. I can't tell where it comes from. It seems to be from the next room, or perhaps from the lawn. I thought I would just ask you whether you heard it.
No, I haven't. It must be those gypsies in the plantation.
Yes, very likely. And yet if it were on the lawn, I wonder you didn't hear it also.
But I've less on my mind than you, and I sleep more heavily than you.
Well, I don't suppose it matters.
You probably take laudanum.
Pinch of snuff? That's all right. Good night, darling.
Good night, Julia dear.
Turn that clock off.
Sorry.
It's my
But it's
spy.
okay.
Just one moment, Miss Stoner. You locked the door after your sister?
Yes, I did.
Was it your custom always to lock yourselves in at night?
Always.
Why was that?
Well, I mentioned that Dr. Roylott keeps
tell
a
you
cheetah
about it.
and a baboon. We wouldn't have felt safe unless our doors were locked, obviously.
Quite so. Baboons are very untrustworthy. Pray continue, please.
That's speciest.
Well, regardless, I couldn't sleep that night. I had a vague feeling of impending misfortune. My sister and I were twins. You know, I think I said that. Did I say that? I'm pretty sure I did.
Probably
And we seemed to
probably
be
2 or
very
3.
closely bound.
Closely bound, yes.
Yes, it's often the case. We repeatedly say.
Here we go. Settle in.
It was a wild night, with the wind howling and rain beating against the windows. Suddenly, over all the hubbub, I heard the wild screams of a terrified woman. I knew it was my sister's voice. I rushed into the corridor. Just as I opened my door, I seemed to hear a low whistle.
Wait,
And then
stop. I think we should have a terrified scream of a woman when she says that. No, we'll have
No,
Julia.
that's the baboon trend.
Liisa, do it. Sorry, we're gonna back up. I just had this brilliant thought. So let's do that. Let's get that. When I heard the wild screams of a terrified woman, and I want Liisa to do Julia's screaming as she's terrified. All right, so if you don't mind, Melissa, please back up to "It was a wild night." Woohoo!
happy to do more exposition. It was
God.
a wild night, with the wind howling and rain beating against the windows. Suddenly, over all the hubbub, I heard the wild screams of a terrified woman.
She does sound terrified.
Indeed, I knew it was my sister's voice. I rushed into the corridor. Just as I opened my door, I seemed to hear a low whistle. And then a clanging sound, as if a mass of metal had fallen. My sister's door was unlocked, and it seemed to swing slowly open upon its hinges. I was rooted to the spot, not knowing what was about to issue from it. Then, by the light of the corridor lamp, which suddenly appeared, I saw my sister coming out, with her face blanched with terror and her hands groping for help. Groping!
Oh,
Helen.
Helen?
Helen.
Julia, my darling! What is it? What's happened to my darling?
Oh, Helen! It was the band! The Speckled Band!
The Speckled Band? Julia, oh, darling. Stepfather, come quickly, please!
What happened?
Oh dear.
Allow me to explain. When he reached my sister's side, she was unconscious. She slowly sank and died without recovering consciousness.
Oh.
And that, I know, was the dreadful end of my beloved sister.
I can just picture it.
What a terrible story!
Nice response, Watson. One moment. Are you sure about this whistle and the metallic sound? Could you swear to it?
That was it. Thank you. That was what the country coroner asked me at the inquiry. It's my strong impression. I know I'm a woman, but I heard it.
Of course. There was a noise of the gale. I suppose the old house creaked a bit.
It's possible I was deceived. That sound I hear now is very convincing. I don't know.
It's not my thing, but was your sister dressed?
No, she was in her nightdress.
Aha!
In her right hand, we found the charred stump of a match and a matchbook in her left.
Showing that she had struck a light and looked around when she was alarmed. That is important.
What conclusions did the coroner come to, Miss
Well,
Stoner?
let me tell you all about it. He was unable to find any satisfactory cause of death. The evidence showed that Julia's door had been fastened on the inside, and the windows were blocked with old-fashioned shutters with broad iron bars. They were fastened every night. The walls were carefully sounded, and they were found to be quite solid all round. The floor was also examined, with the same result.
The chimney?
It's wide, but heavily barred.
Then, your sister was quite alone when she met her end.
Were there any marks of violence on her?
None that I could think of.
That's how you could tell he's British.
How about poison?
No, thank you. Oh,
Don't like fish.
The doctors examined her for poison, but there was nothing.
Miss Stoner, with all your exposition, what do you think this unfortunate lady died of?
Sorry.
For once, I'll keep it simple.
oh.
It's my belief, Mr. Holmes. She died of pure fear and nervous shock.
And as you're so very clever, and what do you think frightened her?
That's what I can't imagine.
Oh, now she can't.
Right, well, you said there were gypsies about the
Bloody
place.
jippos.
Yes, I know. Were there any at the time?
I don't believe that's the preferred nomenclature, but yes, Dr. Watson, there are nearly always some.
What did you gather from this allusion to a speckled band?
I thought sometimes it was merely the wild talk of delirium. She did that, but it may have been referred to some band of people.
Oh, the gypsies!
Steady on, Watson.
Yeah.
It had crossed my mind. I don't know whether the spotted handkerchiefs some of them wear over their heads might be described as speckled bands.
These are very deep waters. Pray, go on with your very short narrative.
God help us all.
I have more detail.
Oh, yes.
You're running out of ink. Please be brief.
Strap in. 2 years have passed since then, Mr. Holmes. My life has been lonelier than ever, until just lately. However, a dear friend whom I've known for many years have done me the honor to ask me to marry him. His name is Percy Armitage. We're to be married in the next few weeks.
If I may offer my congratulations. Huh?
Oh, condolences. Thank you, Doctor.
What is your stepfather's view?
Oh, he's offered no opposition whatsoever.
I see.
But I have more information. 2 days ago.
Yes, you do.
This is why no one gets to see the script ahead of time.
Right.
2 days ago, some repairs were started in the west wing of the building. Not the east wing, but specifically the west wing.
Right.
My bedroom wall is affected, which is why I say that. So I have to move into the room in which my sister died. I'm sleeping in the very bed in which she slept. So you can imagine my terror last night as I lay awake, thinking of her awful fate, when I suddenly heard that same low whistle, which has occurred just before her death.
Great heavens, I swear I hear it now.
I sprang up and lit the lamp, but nothing was to be seen in the room. I was too shaken to go to bed again, though. I got dressed, and as soon as it was daylight, I slipped down to the Crown Inn for a drink and a dog cart to drive me to Leatherhead. My one object was to see you, Mr. Holmes, and ask your advice.
I am rather amazing. You've done wisely, Miss Stoner, but have you told me everything?
Oh, God.
Yes, I have.
I fancy you have not.
Mr. Holmes!
You are shielding your stepfather.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
If you will permit me, to turn back the fringe of your sleeve, thank you.
Great heavens again!
You have been cruelly used, madam. Madam.
He is a hard man.
Well.
Perhaps he hardly knows his own strength.
This is very deep business indeed. There are 1,000 details I should like to know before I decide on our course of action. But we haven't to lose. Now, if we were to come to Stoke Moran today, would it be possible for us to see these rooms without your stepfather's knowledge?
Yes, as it happens, he was speaking of coming into town today on some important business. He will probably be away all day, and there should be nothing to disturb you. We have a housekeeper now, but she's old and foolish. She's terrible. I could easily get her out of the way. I've been
Excellent.
wanting to.
You are not adverse to this trip, eh, Watson?
Oh, by no means.
Perhaps you'll run into the housekeeper when you're there.
Oh, yes. Why doesn't Helen tell us what
I
she's
don't
like?
know who this other person in the room is, but he's very rude. What are you doing to
Mailman!
yourself?
I've got your post, Mr. Holmes.
Ah, thank you so much. Now be gone, peasant. Thank you. Anyway, Miss Stoner,
Yes, sir,
then
Mr.
we
Holmes.
shall both come. What are you going to do to yourself, Miss Stoner?
Whoa.
Excuse me?
Business, but now that I'm in town, there are one or two things that I'd like to do to myself.
Not what it says. But all
I
right.
should go back to the 12 o'clock train so
Ah.
as to be there in time for your coming.
That rhythmic movement. The rhythmic movement of the train.
We
Okay.
shall come, and then we shall both arrive by train. Then you may expect us early in the afternoon. I, too, have some small business matters to attend to first. Won't you wait and have breakfast, though?
What do you think, Watson?
Yes. Do.
Yes? Yes.
No, thank you.
Smart move.
I don't eat. I must go. My heart is lightened already, gentlemen. I shall look forward to seeing you again this afternoon.
But I made waffles.
Oh, allow me.
Yes.
Love waffles. Let me tell you a story about waffles.
Oh, the door closed on her face. Oh, too bad.
All right, she wasn't that attractive anyway. Hello, Holmes. Well, Holmes,
And what do you think of it all, Watson?
I love pancakes. Thank you so much. But waffles are even better. Oh, well, dark and sinister. That's what I think of it.
Oh, no. Dark enough and sinister enough.
Well, but Holmes, if sorry, your name is now Holmes. If she's correct in saying the floors and walls are sound, and the door and window and chimney impassable, then her sister must have been absolutely alone when she met her death, which is not true, because she met her death actually in the hallway with her sister. You know what I'm talking about. Go.
Death
What?
in a sealed room? In other words?
Then what about these nocturnal whistles and what she said about the
There it is again.
band? It followed her here.
I was hoping you were going to provide me with those answers, Watson. You don't do
Oh.
anything.
Well,
Except
you'll have to hope again, prick. I haven't a notion.
Dear me, you're useless.
Well, I'm sorry, I took my finger with my pen while I was writing. Anyway, yes, but did we move the script again? I've lost my place.
Dear
Yes.
me.
Yes, you are very dear to me. Have you? Have you?
We have. Whistles at
Oh,
night. A band of gypsies on a very friendly terms with the doctor, who has a financial interest in preventing his stepdaughter's marriage. We have a dying reference to a speckled band, also a speckled band, and the fact of a metallic clang-clang, which may have caused by one of those metal bars and the shutters falling back into place. If we combine these ideas, I think there is good ground to believe that the mystery may be cleared along those lines.
But what
What do you think, Watson?
gypsies do? I'm getting to it. What did the gypsy? You're so used to letting her talk, you won't let me speak. What did the gypsies do then?
She has better narrative, I can't imagine.
Oh.
Good pair of narrative.
Right, neither can I. I can see plenty of obstacles to any theory involving them.
And so can I, because I'm also good at guessing. It's precisely for that reason that we're going to Stoke Moran today. I want to see just how much can be explained away.
Well, hold that noise out there.
Yeah.
What in the name of the devil?
Oh, which one of you is Holmes? Oh,
My
sorry.
name, sir, but you have the advantage of me.
I'm Dr. Grimesby Roylott of Stoke Moran.
Indeed, Doctor. Pray, take a seat.
I will do nothing of the kind. My stepdaughter has been here. I have traced her. What has she been saying to you?
I'm going to need you to speak slower and in the English language. But it is a little cold for this time of year.
What has she been saying to you, fake
Watson, do
British
you understand what
man?
he's saying? I don't understand what he's saying.
British man.
But I have heard that the crocuses promise well.
Ha! You think you can put me off, do you? I know you, you scoundrel. I have heard of you before. You are Benedict Cumbersnatch, the meddler.
What?
Holmes, sorry. Holmes the busybody! I have more lines! Holmes the Scotland Yard troublemaker!
Your conversation is most entertaining, if the script would stay still, Dr. Roylott. When you go out... When... I don't know where I am.
See? You see,
Oh, all right,
Holmes?
but
This is what it is like.
Everyone quiet, I'm the smartest person in the room. When you go out, close the door. There's a decided draft.
I will go when I've had my say. Don't you dare to meddle with my affairs. I know the girl has been here. I'm a dangerous man to fall foul of. See here.
What's he saying?
Well... Ooh.
I'll show you I can bend a poker, and how I could bend you for 2 points. There.
That was my...
I was just about to say that. That was my favorite poker.
That's
favorite
what I
poker.
could do to you. See that you keep yourself out of my grip.
God, I hope so. Oh, he's gone.
Well, really?
Mildly aroused. He seems like a very affable fellow.
I have that
I'm not
effect on
quite
people.
so bulky myself, but if he stayed, I might have shown him that my grip is not more feeble than his own. Or something.
Yes, I know.
There you are. Quite straight again, unlike me.
I say, Holmes.
Oh, I know, Watson. And fancy having the insolence to confuse me with the official detective force. However, the incident gives zest to our investigation.
I hope the dear lady would be brief and won't suffer from you allowing this brute to, trace her.
Let's hope not. I can't stand any more exposition. And now, Watson, we shall order breakfast.
Yes.
Afterwards, I shall walk down to the Doctor's Commons, where I hope to get some data which may help us in this matter.
Well, more breakfast. You just ate waffles.
Look, I'm fat. Shut up.
All right. You've had your breakfast.
Okay.
Ah, Holmes! I wondered if you'd be back for lunch.
It's lunchtime. But we just had breakfast. No, not quite 1 o'clock, I think.
I don't care. I have lunch any time of the day. What have you got there?
Sandwiches. Some rather interesting notes as well. I've been
Cucumber
examining the
sandwich.
will of the deceased wife.
Ooh.
Roylott?
The Mumbler, yes. The
Oh.
total income at the time of his wife's death was little short of £1,100. Agricultural prices have fallen since then, though, so it's not much more than £750 now. Each daughter could claim an income of £250 in case of marriage, so carry the 4, carry the 7, 4 through 7. So if both girls had married, our strong man would have a mere pittance left.
I have a nosebleed now. Yeah, well, I see. Even one marriage would have cut his income by a good third.
Exactly. That number exactly, Watson.
Right.
Well done. Have a biscuit. My morning's work has proved that he has the very strongest motives to stand in the way of anything of the sort. And now, Watson, this is too serious for dawdling, especially as the old man knows we are interesting ourselves in his affairs. I think we must forgo lunch, and sadly leave the sandwiches here, and take a cab to Waterloo.
Very well, if you say so.
No, I'm looking at a quick bite. I'd be much obliged
Ow.
if you would stick your revolver into your pocket, you know what I mean. And Ely's number 2 is an excellent argument with a gentleman who can twist steel pokers into knots. God, I wish it was me. I think that and a toothbrush are all we shall need.
What do you say?
Okay. Gotta meet up with Chatty Cathy here.
Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson, I've been waiting so eagerly. I have some exposition for you. It's all turned out splendidly. Dr. Roylott has gone to town, and it's unlikely he'll be back before evening.
God, I missed your exposition, Miss Stoner. We had the
Where's the-
pleasure of
wait,
making
wait.
the doctor's acquaintance ourselves.
Where's the housemaid? I want to see her.
Where?
Where?
Didn't you hire her?
Not that I recall.
She doesn't seem to appear on the script. I wonder where she is.
The gypsies have her, my
Oh,
good man.
no.
Oh, dear.
Leave them out of it. Okay.
Where?
Well, I don't know. It's just, I thought she was going to insert herself into the exhibition.
not that kind of play,
See,
George.
Oh, dear.
Your stepfather, he came to our rooms, threw his weight about a bit too. It was really quite jiggly, trying to warn us off.
He followed me then.
No, I said he came to our rooms.
Enough, Watson. So it appears.
What will he say when he returns?
He had better be on his guard. He may find there is someone more cunning than himself on his track. You must lock yourself in safely tonight. If he tries violence, we shall take you away to your aunt's. But for now, we must make the best use of our time.
Don't
Yes,
drink
of
while we're
course.
talking.
If you would kindly take us at once to the rooms we are to examine.
If you'll follow me then.
I will. Quickly.
Brought her horse into the
I was
hallway.
going to say. Clearly,
Whoa, girl. Whoa, 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 whoa. And this, I take it, is the room in which you are now sleeping?
Yes, this
No,
is the exact spot where my sister met her death.
Dr. Roylott's room is on one side of it, and your old room on the other?
That's so.
So you are sleeping in here only while alterations are going on, I believe you said.
Well,
There doesn't seem much need for these alterations. It's a solid enough wall.
there is none. I believe it was simply an excuse to move me from my room.
Aha! Now, if I may examine the room itself.
Yes, please come in.
I see. Now, as both you and your sister locked your doors at night, your rooms were quite unapproachable from the corridor.
Sure.
And there are shutters you close over the windows at night.
Strong enough by the look of them. Solid iron hinges. Nowhere to get a knife through to raise the bar.
I believe you're correct, Watson, moving slightly off.
Ah.
Well, what else have we? What is that over the bed? A bell rope?
A mirror? No.
Yes, to both. It rings in the housekeeper's room.
It looks newer than the other things here.
Yes, it was only put there a couple of years ago.
Oh, your sister asked for it, I suppose?
No, I've never heard of her using it. We always used to get what we wanted for ourselves.
Indeed. Care to give it a tug, Watson?
Certainly. But what about the housekeeper?
She won't hear it, Dr. Watson. She's in the wash house. We're out of our way this afternoon.
Right.
It's buried in the wash house.
Yeah, that's funny.
What is it, Watson?
It doesn't seem to work. There's no give in it at all.
Oh, let me see. Let me give it a good old tug. Oh, this bell rope's a dummy.
You mean it won't ring?
No, it's not even attached to a wire. How stupid.
And very strange, yes.
And very interesting and strange. Look, you can see it's fastened to a hook
And
above the
stupid.
little opening of the ventilator, which apparently is a thing in that time.
Yes.
How very absurd. I never noticed that before, even though I live here.
There are one or two very singular points about this room. For instance, do you notice that the ventilator connects with the adjoining room?
Good heavens!
What a fool a builder must be to ventilate one room for another when he could as easily as cut the ventilator through the outside wall to the fresh air.
The ventilator was quite a recent addition, too.
Done about the same time as the bell rope, I fancy?
Yes,
I
there
knew
were
it.
several little changes carried out about that time.
They seem to have been a most interesting character dummy bell rope and a ventilator which doesn't ventilate. With your permission, Miss Stoner, we shall now carry our research into the next apartment, Dr. Roylott's own room.
Bring your horse.
Come on, yep.
Whoa there, girl.
Thank you.
Sparsely furnished, I see.
Yes, and tacky.
And safe. What's in it?
My stepfather's business papers.
Oh, so you've been inside then?
Only once, some years ago. It was full
In
of
the safe? You've been inside the safe?
The walk-in safe.
How long
Oh,
were you in
okay.
the safe? And there isn't a cat in it, for example.
The cat.
Cat in a safe, Holmes.
What do you think? Is this Schrodinger's problem?
Let the woman answer the question.
Right, sorry.
Thank you. No, of course not.
Well, look at this. What's a saucer of milk doing here?
Will I have a thing? I don't understand. I'm sorry, we don't keep a cat, but there is a cheetah and a baboon, as I've said multiple times.
Cheetah is a cat, actually.
Well, a cheetah's just a big cat, and yet, dare I say, a saucer of
sorry.
milk wouldn't go very far in satisfying its wants, if you know what I mean. There is one point I should like to determine.
What's that, Holmes?
The script staying still for more than 2 seconds to read it. That would be amazing. The seat of this wooden chair here. I'll just get my lens onto it. There it is. Nice lens. Lovely. That's quite settled then.
What?
Hello. Here's something interesting.
Answer my question. What? Wait, that looks like a dog leash.
Curled upon itself and tied to make a loop of a whipcord. What do you make of that, Watson?
A whipcord, just like you said. Well, actually, it's a common enough object, really. But I don't know why it should be tied like that.
That isn't quite so common, is it? Ah, me! It's a wicked world, and when a clever man turns his brain to crime, it is the worst of all. I think I've seen enough now, Miss Stoner, of your weird fetishes. With your permission, we shall walk upon the lawn.
Oh, on the grass.
Certainly.
It is very essential, Miss Stoner, that you should absolutely follow my advice in every respect. Your life may depend on, there's a bird there, upon your compliance.
I assure you, I am in your hands.
I like to hear that. In the first place, my friend and I must spend the night in your room for obvious reasons.
Okay.
I don't.
Yes, I do. It must be so. Let me explain. I have a real problem. I believe that this is this village in over there.
Yes, that is the crown.
Very good. Your windows will be visible, I think.
Oh, no.
Would the windows be visible? Could you see the windows?
I'm sorry, are you planning to
The
look
windows,
at
woman! Can you see them?
No, I lost my place in the world.
towards the top of the page?
Yeah, certainly, yes.
You must confine yourself to your room with a headache, like most women do at night time, you know what I mean? When your stepfather comes back, when you hear him retire for the night, you must open the shutters on your window, undo the hasp, whatever that is, put your lamp there as a signal to us, and then withdraw from the room with everything you are likely to want, including the cheetah. You must go into the room which you used to occupy. I have no doubt that you can manage there for one night.
Oh, yes, easily.
Then the rest you will leave in our hands.
But what will you do?
We shall come over from the inn and spend the night in the room you have left, and we shall investigate the cause of this noise which hath disturbeth you.
Mr. Holmes, I believe you've already made up your mind.
Oh, perhaps I have.
Then for pity's sake, seriously, tell me what was the cause of my sister's death.
I should prefer to have a clearer version of the script moving proof before I speak. And now, Miss Stone, we must leave you. Eventually, if Dr. Roylott returned and saw us, our journey would be in vain. Watson and I must make our way to the Crown and engage a room commanding a view of this part of Stoke Moran Manor House. Goodbye, Miss Stoner. Be brave.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. I do have more stories for you if you need, but I have complete faith in you.
I look forward to your endless exposition. Be brave.
Well, I think this is going surprisingly well.
I thought so too. Now he's shaking his fist at the boy. Didn't open up the gate quickly enough. Ah, there he goes.
Well, so the good doctor returns.
Yes, I'm here. Oh,
The other doctor.
Was there a horse going about? I think there was a horse, but I
we
didn't see
put
him.
the stealth shoes on him. You see.
Oh, I thought there was a horse, but I didn't hear a horse, but it must have been. I think I saw a horse.
Very
Sorry.
tardy horse. He's very light on his.
God, that was
Patience.
close, Watson.
Yes, I'm sorry. There's no hitching post.
Great
sir.
Scott!
That was about 3
Whoever
feet
that
from me.
is.
All right, so please start over from Holmes. Well, though the good doctor.
Well, so the good doctor returns.
Yeah, and in a very nasty mood, if you ask me, Holmes, which you didn't. But
I didn't, you're right, Watson. But you know, Watson, I have some real reservations about taking you with me tonight. You're just dragging me down, man. There is a distinct element of danger.
Wait! I want to order some drinks. Barmaid, the one with the tag that says Liisa on it. Could I have
Hello?
some drinks?
Hello? Bonnie the barmaid here. What can I have you?
I'll have a scotch, a big scotch, and I don't know what Holmes will have or Watson.
Oh, I'll have the big Scot at the bar.
I was going to say I don't know his name, but I'll ask for you. Hey,
It's
McDingle.
I've known a few McDingles, actually.
I bet you have, Watson.
Yes.
all right then. A Scotch and a McDingle. I'll be right back for you.
Thank you. All right, so
Waffles, please.
continue,
Scotch
Holmes. You were talking about your presents. I don't think it was Christmas, so it must be a different kind of present.
Your presence
I'm just
might be
a neighbor. I'm just
invaluable.
the stranger you met.
I said,
wondering when-
Watson, your presence might be invaluable.
Well, I didn't ask if I could be of assistance yet, but...
I
yes,
don't care, but
Oh,
fine.
well, then, fine. I shall certainly come.
It's very kind of you.
Yeah.
Oh.
You speak of danger. Well, I almost choked myself on my vodka. You evidently see more in those rooms than I did.
No, I imagine you saw as much as I, but as I'm the main character, I saw slightly more. But I fancy I may have deduced a little more by that statement.
I didn't notice anything remarkable except for the bell rope.
You saw the ventilator too, with the electricity.
Well, yes, but I didn't think anything of it. Oh, yes, but I don't think that it's such a very unusual thing to have a small opening between two rooms, unless it's Taco Bell night. I mean, dash it! It's, so small that a rat could hardly get through.
Before we even came to Stoke Moran, I knew we should find a ventilator.
My dear Holmes.
Oh, yes, I did, girlfriend. You remember in her statement, she said that when she and her sister were talking in that room, they could smell Dr. Roylott's cigar.
Yes, rather fancied having one. Yes.
Well, of course, that suggested once there must be a communication between the two rooms.
Ah.
Our drinks are
Indeed,
here.
Watson.
Oh, excuse me, I got my drink. Oh, just pardon me, Holmes. I gotta reach over. Let me get my drink.
God.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you go. That'll be £5.
The guy in the
Fine.
fancy hat
Ow.
will pay.
Good.
All right then. He said to make it a double for you, a double McDingle for you. So drink up. Cheers.
We call that a McDongle.
Yes. Cheers, Holmes. Cheers, Watson. Thanks for the liquor. I'm going to go back and sit at the bar where I was. Just inserted myself in your conversation. Yes.
Watson, I don't mean to alarm you, but who the fuck is that guy?
I don't know. He just keeps butting.
He just keeps showing up every
I know.
every
I was about
episode.
to say, everywhere we
Ridiculous.
go, he
I can't
just-
work this way.
There he is.
Anyway,
He's like some kind of a
anyway,
French
Watson, it could
waiter.
only be a small one, or it would have been remarked on the coroner's inquiry. Therefore, I deduced a ventilator.
Well, pretty obvious, I suppose.
Duh, Watson, of course, yes.
What harm could there be in that?
Well, there is at least a curious coincidence of dates. A ventilator is made, a bell rope is hung, and a lady who sleeps in the bed dies. Did you observe anything peculiar about that bed?
Well, it would be hanged, not hung. Hung is a very different thing. But no.
It was clamped to the floor.
What?
Exactly, it was clamped to the floor. The lady couldn't move her bed. It must always be in the same relative position. Ventilator and to the rope.
Holmes! Now! I'm beginning to see.
Do you see that it was indeed clamped to the floor?
It's
Capital.
wood alcohol. That's why I'm going blind. Absolutely. Just outbit my tongue. We're only just in time to prevent another horrible crime.
Horrible and subtle indeed, Watson. When a doctor does go wrong, he is the first of criminals. He has nerve and he has knowledge. Palmer and Pritchard were first among the heads of their profession. This man strikes even deeper. But I think, Watson, come closer, listen to me, that we shall be able to strike deeper still. But we shall have horrors enough before the night is over. For goodness sake, let us get a quiet pipe and turn our minds for a few hours to something more cheerful.
Yay! How about we get someone to do a hornpipe?
Holmes, there's there's a light from the manor house over at the Frankenstein place. Her signal!
About 11 o'clock. Come along then and keep a sharp lookout for that baboon.
And the cheetah. I should be a good deal happier when we're in that room.
I can hear you, Watson. Now come along.
Okay, good.
Yes.
There's that baboon.
No,
There's
that was
a
the
window. Might be both.
Is it nighttime yet?
It's open for us. We must get as quietly as possible and close the shutters without a sound. We must sit without a light. He would see it through the ventilator.
Yes, I understand, yeah.
Do not go to sleep.
Oh.
Your life may depend on it. Have your pistol ready in case we should need it.
Oh.
I will sit on the side of the bed, and you in the chair.
Can I eat my leftover waffles? Right.
Yes, you may. I brought a candle and matches with me. We shall have to turn out her lamp as soon as we enter, so that it'll think that she's gone to bed. But if anything happens, I'll have my candle ready to light. Now, my dear Watson, is everything understood?
Perfectly.
Good. Let's get in then. Excellent. Now put out the lamp, Watson. Good. Now then, be quite still. Not a sound.
Does that mean I can't
I said
answer
shut
yours?
up!
I know, that's why I'm asking. Holmes, something's happening. A lantern's been lit in the next room.
Ah, yes, I see. Listen.
No, look. What is it?
Watson. Stay where you are. Ha ha! You see, Watson? Do you see it?
I can't.
Ah, it's getting away.
What is it, Holmes? I can't see.
Quickly, Watson, into the next room!
What does it mean,
Whoa,
Holmes?
girl. Whoa. Get your pistol out. Into Roylott's room, quickly.
All right. Oh, look at it! And look at his head! Wrapped around it!
The band! The Speckled band! It's a swamp adder, the deadliest snake in India. He's dead already.
Great heavens!
Violence does
Yes, you're
infuse.
dead.
I am monologuing. Everyone
I'm
stop.
getting better.
Recoil upon the violent.
No, you're
The
not.
schemer falls into the pit, which he digs for another.
I'm fine. I'm alive.
Shall I shoot it?
Actually, just
Yes.
shoot him, just to be sure.
Shoot Roylott,
No,
just to make
this
sure.
noose in the dog leash will do
I
it.
feel
It's obviously
happy.
intended for this. Just slip around the reptile's neck, which he doesn't have, like that. And if you will be so good as to open the safe door a little wider, we'll pop it inside like that. Now close the door quickly.
With the greatest pleasure. Like that.
And now, well done. And now we must remove his stoner to some place of shelter and let the country police know what has happened.
Those
Country
bunglers.
police.
Country police.
Shit.
Please wait until the train has started before getting on the ride. Where's the train? Where's the train? There it is. Okay.
Thank you, God. He's still here.
Sounds like a washing machine.
But Holmes, I think I know her. What made you suspect you would find a snake?
When I examined the room, it became clear to me that whatever danger threatened could not come either from the window or the door. The discovery that the bell rope placed behind the ventilator was a dummy, and that the bed was clamped to the floor, I've mentioned that a few times, instantly made me suspicious that the rope was there as a bridge. The idea of a snake occurred to me instantly because I'm brilliant. And when I coupled it with my knowledge that Dr. Roylott was a fancier of creatures from India, I felt sure I was on the right track.
Yes. Of course, I see.
This narrative feels Dreadfully unbalanced, Watson. The idea of using a form of poison which could not possibly be discovered by any chemical test was just such a one as would occur to a clever and ruthless man who had an interest in what's the word? Eastern training, that's the one.
Yes.
From his point of view also, the speed with which such a poison would take effect would be an advantage. It would be a sharp-eyed coroner indeed who could distinguish... There's that train again. The two little dark punctures which... Another train, which should show the way the poison factor done their work.
They
You're
pass
on
in
a
the night,
train.
Holmes, you see. It's, right. That is quite so. Stoner made no mention of anything like that having, been discovered.
I'm sure they weren't.
Discovered. Right. So, well, what about the, that, whistle? No, well, yes.
That was the next thing I thought about. He would put the snake through the ventilator with certainty and would crawl down the rope and land on the bed. He couldn't be sure that it would bite the occupant of the bed. She might escape every night for a week before she fell a victim. Therefore, he had to be able to recall the snake before morning light, or she would have seen it. He trained properly in the art of ninjutsu by the use of milk, which we saw to come back to him when he whistled to it.
Bit of a, snake charmer, eh?
High five, Watson. Good joke.
Well,
Something of the kind. Well, I had come to remember these conclusions before I had even entered his room. You remember I examined his chair with my lens?
Yes. What was all that about?
Watson used to cut down the sherry. It was about 2 hours ago. Simply to confirm myself that he'd been in the habit of standing on it in order to reach the ventilator. When I saw the safe, the saucer of milk, and the loop of this whipcord, any doubts I might still had, were dispelled.
So the metallic clang, clang, clang.
Yes, obviously her stepfather hastily closing the door of his safe on its terrible occupant.
Holmes.
Yes, Watson?
I'm just beginning to feel rather thankful that I didn't know any of this before we settled down in that room in the dark. When I think of that creature sliding down the bell rope toward us...
You and me both, Watson. Well, at least I sat on the bed and gave you the chair.
Well, so you did. And you knew what to expect, too.
As soon as I heard the creature hiss, I knew for certain what we were up against. I don't mind admitting I was glad to get that candle lit and use my stick upon the brute.
Well, with the result of it driving it through the ventilator, that was what you wanted to do?
No, I wouldn't say that. Some of my blows got home upon it and must have roused its snakish temper. It fled through the ventilator and fastened upon the first person it saw. No doubt I'm indirectly responsible for Dr. Grimesby Roylott's death, but YOLO, but I can't say it's likely to weigh heavily upon my conscience.
Oh. I say, that was a splendid job.
Oh, the Petrie family took the time to bring you such good wine. So when you eat and when you cook, remember Petrie wine.
Getting a bad echo, June.
Tastes better.
Wine. Sorry. I was close, okay.
Thank you for tuning in to our performance. That's me, says George, announcer.
George.
But I thought it could be both of us, George
Do
announcer.
both of you at the same time. Go.
Thank you.
Thank you for
tuning
turning
into our
performance
performance of Sherlock Holmes. Oh my God,
And
it's
the
going to take
advent
forever.
of the Speckled
Mute him.
Man.
We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. I had a blast. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone involved in making this production possible. There's Chris Sharps as the amazing Sherlock Holmes. There was Trendane Sparks as the ridiculous Dr. Watson. Melissa Medina was our very talkative Helen Stoner. Not her fault. It's the way it was. She is going to be Miss Exposition of 2023. And Liisa Lee as our thankless job of Julia Stoner, the dead girl, and also the barmaid, who was very helpful in getting some of our
Impromptu
actors drunk. And Matthew Curtis, that guy. He played Roylott and an announcer, and my God, where did he get that voice? I don't want to ever hear it again. Our technical producer and advisor was June Yoon. Very tired man.
June. Thank you, June.
Thank you, June.
Very good. The musical segues for tonight's show were from the original 1946 broadcast, and the Theremin Theater show, which you heard in the beginning, was created by Jeff Leeson. This bizarre thing is produced, so to speak, and directed by myself, so to speak. George will do. Thanks for tuning in. If you did, and if you're catching it later, well, why'd you miss it? But thanks for tuning in, and we hope you like and subscribe to the channel. And
Smash
from all
those
of us,
buttons, like them, subscribes.
yeah, that's right.
Do the
Back
thing.
and smash and spoon. Do all the violence to the channel. From all of us here at Theremin Theater, don't miss the next episode, because it's going to be Sherlock Holmes again, but not Sherlock Holmes. So you don't want to miss it. Until then, have a great night, a great life, and we'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.